And former FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force member Steve Rogers is here as well. And Judge Napolitano, you sat with us on set during that news conference where we heard from Mayor Buddy Dyer, Governor Rick Scott, the Orlando Police Chief John Mina saying, quote, responding officers acted heroically. We also learned that the number of victims dead it totals 49. That official 50 number earlier on included the dead shooter. Some unbelievable things that we're hearing coming out of the heroic acts and the gruesome details that occurred inside of that bar.
Well, it's a very difficult sight to imagine, and law enforcement, as Steve can tell you, that's their job, although they're not usually confronted with something of this magnitude. But what we saw in the press conference was about 8 or 9 government agencies working in tandem, each pursuing their own field of expertise under the leadership of the United States Attorney, for whom the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, and Tobacco works, each pursuing their own area. Right now, in that nightclub, forensics experts are reconstructing as best they can everything that happened that evening, including every shot that he fired, where he was when he fired it, where it ended up, who it hit, and how it harmed the person that it hit. At the same time, the FBI is clearly going through his iPhone or his Android, whatever he had, all electronic equipment, to see with whom he communicated. The main thing that they want to look for right now, that the victims have been removed to a morgue, is, were there Confederates? Are there Confederates out there? Are there other people who knew about this and looked the other way, or people who participated in the planning? And might they be lethal themselves? There's an enormous team of FBI agents who were not present at this press conference who are doing that even as we speak.
And Steve, that's an enormous task for us to even fathom.
Well, it sure is, and the judge is absolutely right. The carnage there certainly is going to be combed through by law enforcement, but the key now is, were there accomplices? Was there anyone else involved in the planning? There was reconnaissance there, obviously. It was a well-planned and well-executed operation. The question now is, as the judge said, was there anyone else involved? And is there, in fact, a connection to international terrorism? That is going to be a key role in how we respond to this as we move down the road.
So some of the details that we learned from the Orlando Police Chief John Mina, officers engaged in an exchange of fire with Mateen to stop shooting. Omar retreated to the bathroom where he had been holding people hostage. By the way, an update on the officer. We keep seeing the picture of the Kevlar helmet where an officer took a gunshot to the head there. An update on him. He's doing great, according to the Orlando Police Chief. There's the helmet, just showing how direct of a hit that was.
Think about this for a moment. The police on the scene, knowing that there is a killer inside, knowing that there's hostages. I mean, this police department executed their operation right to the letter of perfection. You heard the police chief say earlier that he had to make a decision to breach that wall. What a decision to make, how difficult that is, because the first objective of the police is to protect innocent people.
Steve, is it fair that criticism, I don't know if it's criticism, but there have been questions about the length of time it took them to breach that wall. It's been estimated that that was about 3 hours into the first shot that took place.
Yeah, there shouldn't be any criticism there, because when you're on a scene like that, your objective obviously is to save life or to prevent the killing of more. If they had heard more shots, they would have been in there instantly. But they probably at one point wanted to talk to the shooter. Your objective is, and in cases like this, it's better to get him out alive, because then you have more intelligence and information.
And by the way, Judge, also Governor Rick Scott, who stepped up during that conference as well, has said he has asked President Obama to declare a state of emergency for Florida. That would obviously change the way they can react and respond to this.
It will actually produce more federal funds and more federal resources. I think they have a lot of federal resources and assets there as well. But declaring a state of emergency frees federal resources not only for law enforcement, but for victims, for the club itself, for people who suffered a horrific loss. There are provisions in the law that provide for immediate federal financial assistance. If I can echo what Steve just said, initially it seemed like, my God, why did you guys wait 3 hours to go in there? But now we found out they were talking to him. They were trying to calm him down. They were trying to extricate him without having to kill him. And we also found out that nobody died during that 3-hour time period. The decision to go in there, whether you're wearing Kevlar or whatever you're wearing, is utterly heroic. It is the personification of heroism.
Wow.
And where the change should be made, in my view, is that the President of the United States has to identify this enemy, radical Islamic terrorist. He hasn't done that. In addition to that, I believe that we're getting to a point where we're not going to have to treat this anymore as a criminal matter, but as an enemy combatant matter. We're at war. The President has to make that change quickly.
And
I just want to ask the judge something, but Judge, this is a man who was identified by the FBI, who was interviewed 3 times under 2 separate investigations, and had some connection with a suicide bomber who had moved from Florida to Syria, and yet nothing. And yet this.
You know, the FBI will be criticized for this. I am sure that they used their standard operating procedures to conclude that whatever we know about this guy, it's not enough probable cause to arrest him. The question is, did they have him under surveillance? They obviously didn't, or this wouldn't have happened. Why didn't they have him under surveillance? Was there not enough evidence to trigger the fact that he is dangerous? Did they know that he was licensed to carry these weapons? Did they know that he worked for a security company that has international implications?
And the security company knew that he had been interviewed by the FBI.
And why would a security company, a company that provides security for the United States government in foreign countries, have a person like this with his views about human freedom, with his views about radical Islamic terrorism, licensed to carry these weapons and working for him? These are great questions, Dagan, that'll take some time to answer.
Mayor Buddy Dyer said when he began that news conference a few moments ago, we will not be defined by the act of a cowardly hater. And for anyone searching for loved ones, they've put out a phone number, 407-246-4357, because we do know that they are still in the act of notifying family members of those 49 dead victims.